What is up? I'm your glorious host, Mark, and I have watched over 200 anime. I'm here to review them. Oh, spent too much. Hold on. Come back around. And now I'm dizzy. But what is up? It's your glorious host, Martin, back with another one. Today, we are reviewing KonoSuba, the greatest isekai of all time. Hands down. I don't care what you say. Argue with your mama. So, if you don't know about KonoSuba, once again, KonoSuba is actually an isekai. It's the greatest comedy anime that I have had the pleasure of actually watching. So, the story starts off with a character, Kazuma. Kazuma was a shut-in neat. He was a guy who just stayed in his room all day and just played video games. But one day, KonoSuba decided to go outside, go get a new video game, and upon trying to go back home, he thought he was stopping a girl from getting hit by a tractor. But what actually happened was he died from shock and he peed on himself. So he was transferred to another life, obviously. And upon him leaving, he went to a new world full of magic, adventure, blase blase. He thought this was the greatest thing ever, and this is gonna be the best life that he's always dreamed about in a fantasy world. No. So Konosuba was sent to this world, and his job was to one day defeat the Demon King. But Konosuba, I mean not Konosuba, but Kazuma is actually like one of the most serious characters in this world, unfortunately. He's like, I think he is stuck at like level 1 for the longest. If not, like his skill level is level 1. But he does get some nice feats though. So Konosuba is actually accompanied by a goddess, which we'll talk about in a second. He gets two more companions, a paladin and a arch wizard. And Konosuba goes through different adventures all throughout this. He doesn't even go to like the main kingdom that often. He's actually in like the beginning city. Like if you play the RPG, it's the first beginner city that you actually live in before moving on. So Konosuba, he eventually learns different magic. He has encounter with with multiple Demon King generals, which is hilarious. So Konosuba, he really doesn't want to do the adventure thing anymore because he's died a few times and has to come back. He really just wants to live a luxurious lifestyle, and he really doesn't want to do much to actually get that lifestyle. Although the man has been rich, I want to say like 4 or 5 times in the show, and he's lost all of it every time. The next character is the water god, the goddess that actually transferred him to this world, Aqua. Aqua, Aqua, Aqua actually told him he was able to get any item that he wants. One magic, I mean, one OP power, one, magical weapon, one magic armor, anything. And he chose her because when he died, she laughed at him because he died from fear and he peed on himself. And she had a great big laugh about that. So he said he chooses her to come to that world with him, which whatever beings are over her decided that was okay and sent her to the world with him. So now they're both in this world and they've been struggling, like they're poor. They went to that world with no money. They actually slept in a stable for like the first half of the season 1. And Aqua, although she's a goddess, her powers are kind of reset in a way. So she has to level up and learn new skills just like Cosma. And she's ultimately useless except for her healing ability. Other than that, like she's an airhead and she's useless. Like her best thing that she can use with magic besides healing and reviving is party tricks. Believe it or not, she has mastered all of the party tricks that come with being a water magic user. Yeah. Now she does have some really cool, spectacular attacks. They don't do much except for like one instance when they have to fight this giant robot. That's the only time that it actually really like look cool and work. Most of the time they just look cool, but her power just broke like a barrier, and that was about it. So the next character is actually one of my favorites, Megumin. Megumin is a arch wizard from a clan known as the what was her clan name? They were known as the I forgot the name of her clan, but they're like your overly eccentric wizards. Like almost everybody wears a cape. They come in with drastic interests in everything, and they have the weirdest names. So, but we learned later on that a scientist actually created them, gave them like these red eyes, which is like their moniker for being uh, I, I can't for the life of me. I think they're called something demons or something. I just can't remember. But like they were born kind of like the Uzumakis. They're born to all of them are born to be arch wizards. Like out the gate. As long as they learn magic, they eventually become arch wizards. And Megumin is one of the strongest arch wizards, but she's also like Aqua, and she's useless to a degree because Megumin can only use one type of magic, and that is explosion magic, which is the greatest defensive magic. I mean, offensive magic. But at the same time, Megami only uses explosion magic and is so powerful that when she uses one spell, she can't move for hours. So she can literally only use her magic once a day. Now, Megami can use other magic because she is an arch wizard, but she fell in love with explosion magic so heavily, she only uses explosion magic. So every time she levels up, she puts all the points into not auto, but faster casting spells, just giving it bigger energy and just leveling up the spell itself. So she could have probably been one of the greatest wizards of all time. And she's pretty crazy because at the slightest inconvenience, she will nuke everything around her. When I tell you it's an actual nuke, every time she lets off a blast, there is a mushroom cloud. So next is Darkness, another useless character, and that's what makes this show so funny because everybody's useless except Kazuma. And I didn't mention this, but the only reason Kazuma is not as useless as everybody else is because for some reason the only OP thing he has with him about him is his luck ability. He has like the high. He came to that world with like the highest luck. Everything else is average. So that's the only thing that actually sets him apart from everybody else being useless. But Darkness is a paladin, and she's actually really strong, resilient. But although she's a paladin, Darkness cannot hit anything with her sword. Yeah, yeah, I know. And she's proud and not proud of that at the same time. She's not proud of it, but she's not so she still will tell people, which is sad. But hey, so Darkness is hilarious, like I said, and she tries to come off as really cool a lot of times, but it ultimately fails. Like when she tried to cut down a Doulahan, and it looked amazing, but she literally swung her sword and hit two rocks that were beside him, although she swung directly at him. Yeah. The only time she's actually been able to hit something were these little creatures that were intentionally trying to jump at her, and they just happened to be in the vicinity of her blade while it was swinging. Darkness is also royalty. Her family actually is so locked in that they are companions of the actual king of like who rules like over the entire nation. But she doesn't like to talk about it because she just wants to be a regular adventurer, which she really sucks at. And nobody really wants to like have her on her team. So that's why she got stuck with Kazuma. Also, unrelated, she's a masochist. If you know what that means, it's a running trope throughout the whole show. Yeah, and it actually gets funnier in season two. Believe it or not, it's funnier in season two than season one. And KonoSuba currently has 3 seasons, a movie, and a spin-off series with Megumin, which I actually didn't like because I actually like the entire team together because together they have this dynamic of like friends. So it's funnier when they're together. What else? Also, the Demon Lords Generals are all hilarious. They are some of the strongest beings in this world, but they all are in a sense useless still. Because like they all have their individual things that they like to do. Like it seems like none of them are on one accord. They simply just do as they please. For instance, the Doulahan, he just like randomly went to this castle and it was on the outskirts of the city. Megami was blowing it up so much that he came and threatened him. And he actually didn't slaughter anybody like the first 2 or 3 times. And then the man waited like 3 days for them to come and hunt him like it was a dungeon raid or whatever. And he was supposed to be the final boss, but nobody came, so he was sitting there looking crazy. They had this slime, which he was actually on a mission for the Demon King. He ultimately failed thanks to Cosmo, but like his whole character is like just funny because he hated Aqua is actually a god who's she's actually a god who's cherished and actually worshipped in this world. But the thing is, her worshippers are just as crazy as her, and they drove him crazy. And he was just like screaming and driven out of his mind the entire time. Then you have I can't remember his name, but he's a masked demon. Like he's just a mask, but he uses earth to make a body, and he just messes with Agua all the time because he knows she's a goddess and they hate each other. So he just torments her all the time. And then you have, I forgot her name, but she is a lich and she owns a magic shop now. She used to be an adventurer before she worked for the Demon King, so she's well known already. But apparently she sucks at business. Although she wants to run a store, she apparently, the harder she works, the broker she gets because I think she buys like stuff that doesn't sell, and in her magic shop, I think KonoSuba the only people who go there. Other than that, she goes broke until Von Neer came in and helped them make more money. But he constantly makes it so she does mundane things, so she doesn't go buy stuff to make them broke again. So the entire cast is hilarious. I love everybody's like nobody gets a real character development. I'm gonna say that now. Everybody kind of stays the same, but it is constant comedy the entire time. And if you haven't noticed, I didn't give it a review. That's because KonoSuba is a 10 out of 10. I have probably watched KonoSuba maybe 50 times. No heads. Like I'm not capping. I have watched KonoSuba a lot. I actually almost started watching it today, which is what made me do the review for it today. So if you haven't watched it, please go and watch it. It's hilarious. It's comedy gold. Make sure if you want me to review something, make sure you comment it down below, or you can go to my Instagram and you can comment on my story once a day. I post and ask what reviews people want me to do, and so I'm gonna constantly review. If you're watching this for the first time, I drop a video every day. That is my goal, and we're gonna keep this going. Boom.